Hi everyone. Once again, we are at GDG DevFest Ukraine conference. This year we are trying something new. We are interviewing some of the speakers who we can meet. Um, right now I have next to me Shmuela Jacobs, founder of ngGirls movement. And let's start a bit. I want to hear more. How did you came up with the idea of your talk? What's your talk to, at the conference? And tell us more about like progressive web apps.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to DevFest Ukraine. This is a really awesome conference, one of the best one that I've ever been to. The organization is so great. I know you've been doing this for a few years now and you have experience, but it's really a great feeling to be here, and
Thank
it
you.
all comes from the community, which of course I really love this.
Yep.
So thank you for organizing this and volunteering for this. Thank you very much. Um, so about
What's your
my
topic?
yeah. So I was talking about progressive web applications with Angular,
Okay.
and progressive web applications are going to be the alternative for native mobile applications. And the browsers already implement a lot of tools, a lot of things to help us make our web applications seem more natural for mobile,
Okay.
such as service workers and so on. And Angular as a platform gives us tools to help us do this, progressify our web applications, to generate a service worker. The Angular platform knows about the structure of our application because we write it in Angular. So there are certain things that we do in a certain way. So it can analyze our application and give us the files that we need, the service worker and app shell and so on, to use as a progressive web application. So I think that's really cool. And of course, all these tools are still in development. So a lot of them are experimental. So you really have to keep up with the news and the releases.
Yeah.
It's really changing like every week.
The
But
yeah.
the stage it is at today is already awesome.
Okay.
In my talk, I showed how I take a very simple application which scored 40 something in Lighthouse in the progressive
Okay.
web app, and made a few steps, and we reached 100 in the end
Okay.
of the talk. So that was really awesome.
Okay, like I was an engineer myself, and I was a mobile engineer. Um, and of course, like I like native apps and stuff. But which are the main use cases for progressive web apps? Like, should we write the native app for DevFest conference, or should we stay at PWA?
Well, I'm coming from the web world,
Okay.
a bit less from mobile applications. And I know that for mobile, you have different languages that you have to write. You may
Yeah, true. Maintain.
yeah, think about if you're writing for Android or for iOS or for both and so on. But web application, you can write just once. Of course, you have to write it a bit differently if you want to display it on mobile and have different features. But you can write it once, and the browsers have access to most of the features that the phone can give you, so you can use them. So I really feel that this is going this way. Even Apple have recently announced that they're going to support progressive web applications,
Okay.
because it's much easier to write one application, and there are advantages to that. For example, they're linkable, and you don't
Okay.
have to look for them in the store, and you don't have to install them with all the permissions. You just do this on the fly.
Okay.
So I really think that anyone should start exploring
Okay.
this way of doing
Everyone.
things. Yeah.
Thanks. I read in your bio, and you mentioned it a lot. You're doing a lot of community work with ngGirls
Yeah.
and Angular Nights. Uh, Tell me how ngGirls started. How did you come up with the idea?
Yeah. Well, I haven't been a developer all my life.
Okay.
I sort of thought that it wasn't for me.
Okay.
I saw friends and my brother who is a guy, of course, and guy friends who are really good at coding and they're like great programmers. And I was struggling with some things and I didn't really have the community for that or who to ask. So I didn't think it was for me until I really got into this eventually. And suddenly I realized that I was, my perception was wrong about
Okay.
it. That thinking that this is a guy thing, it's just a wrong idea. It's subconscious,
Stereotype or something.
yeah, stereotypes, unconscious bias,
Yeah.
actually. Um, and then I started getting involved in such programs, and I went. There are a lot of brilliant programs for women who want to be developers,
Yeah.
such as Women Tech Makers.
Yep.
And I was participating at the time at Google Code F, and I also went to Django Girls.
Yeah, actually, one of the hosts of the workshop stage was organizing ngGirls here in Lviv.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's become a really huge global organization already. That's
Okay.
right. And also in Israel, we had already twice Django Girls events in the past 2 years.
Okay.
So apparently I was in the first event ever. I didn't know that at the time. It was
First ever Django?
Django Girls, yeah, in Berlin as part of PyConf
Okay.
3 years ago in the summer, in July.
Okay.
Um,
It's like first ever
First
ngGirls.
ever Django Girls, yeah,
Okay.
that's amazing. And I just realized it not so long ago. I didn't know it at the time because it was so well organized. So
Okay.
I thought they're doing this for a while. And it was such an amazing experience. You came there, they give you a tutorial in Django, and you sit in groups with a mentor who's helping, and my mentor was super nice, and my group was so great, and so the whole experience was very friendly and made me want to keep on doing this stuff, get more into
Okay.
programming and so on. But I shifted from Python to front end,
Yeah.
to JavaScript, and to Angular, of course. Actually, very quickly after that, after this experience. And after a while of doing, of writing things in Angular, of working with it, I realized that it's a great opportunity to do something like that, just like Django Girls with Angular, because it's also, especially with the new version of Angular,
Okay.
it's so easy to get started. You have the
Okay.
Angular CLI, you just run it in the command line, and you have a working web application that you can already see and edit
And
on
touch.
the browser
Yeah.
and touch it, and you see the result immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what I love so much about Angular and front-end development.
That's true.
So, so I totally took the idea from Django Girls. I also, they've helped me with their resources.
Okay.
They have open source resources. So I was truly inspired by that. So everything in ngGirls is also open source. And the tutorial that we use was actually written in a meetup that I organized
Okay.
by the community. Everyone who came to this meetup just wrote a chapter of the tutorial, and like from them, of course, we had to change things and edit
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
but again, a lot of community effort here. So that's amazing.
Cool. How did your first ngGirls went? Probably like in 4 years, there will be another person who will say, you know what, I was at the first ngGirls meetup and I didn't expect that like this changed my life. So how did your first event went?
Yeah, so the first event was in November a year ago.
Okay.
And it was in Israel, in Tel Aviv.
Okay.
we did it in the Google campus.
Okay.
Where they give a free space for community events
Yeah.
like this. So it went pretty well. I remember seeing everybody. There were a lot of preparation. There were all the applicants fill out a form, and
Yeah.
we have the mentors who also fill out a form, and then we match the groups to the mentors. And after all this craziness of setting it all up and organizing it, suddenly I had a moment where I could just look at it from the side. And I saw everybody just sitting there. It was a whole day. The events are from 9 to 5.
Okay.
And they were just sitting there on the tables with their laptops, the groups with the mentors, and so concentrated in that. And it was such a great feeling to see that. It was so relaxing and so like a moment of realizing the
Yeah.
achievement.
Yeah.
And wow, that was, I will remember it for the rest of my life, this moment. And these things motivate me to keep on doing this. You can see everybody just into this. And of course, I got lots of feedback right after the event. Women approached to me and told me that how it went, and told me about their experience, and that they were really inspired by it. And I still get emails about it,
Cool.
and they update me about their
How the things
progress.
go.
Yeah, if they get a job in the field and so on. So that was, that was amazing. It was.
Okay. That's what
it went
inspires
really well.
organizers mainly.
Yeah.
Getting feedback.
I guess so.
Tell me more about Angular Nights.
Yeah, so Angular Nights is a meetup group in Israel
Okay.
that I'm organizing. And it initially started as Angular After Hours that I started organizing together with my colleague Nir Kaufman about a year and a half ago. And we have already a very large community, Angular community in Israel, and we have a very large JavaScript community, and we have a lot of meetups. But we decided to do something different that's more hands-on workshops,
Okay.
learning by doing, more intimate.
Learning by doing is very efficient.
Yeah, and to have this kind of environment that everybody feels welcome and that they can ask questions and so on. So you don't just come to see a presentation,
Yeah.
a talk, and not maybe
And do
some
nothing,
people get
yeah.
lost in that, right? So we actually had a talk about how we started this meetup group in Angular Connect a year ago.
Okay.
And following this talk, right after the talk, a guy from here, from Lviv, Roman, he came and asked us about it. And he was inspired to open a meetup group by himself, an Angular meetup group in Lviv. And I met him recently, and he gave me this notebook
Yeah,
that he
like-
made for the meetup.
There's like the picture of Lviv inside.
That's a picture of Lviv. It's a notebook that, hey Roman, I'm using the notebook really. I've got lots of Angular notes here, really.
Cool.
It's really useful. It's I'm so great to hear that
Things are growing.
Yeah, that we actually touched people around the world and gave them this idea, and it just showed them that it's not so hard to do. So it's been over a year now, and the meetup group has changed its name from Angular After Hours to Angular Nights. And I currently organize it by myself, but with the help of some friends. And yes, we have workshops for beginners in Angular and some more advanced stuff. We teach RxJS, we teach Firebase. And
Okay, you're going.
yeah, and by the way, I'm not. I don't want to forget. I'm coming to this meetup on Tuesday. We're doing a special meetup with
Great.
Israel Lviv. So come if you're in the area Tuesday night. I'm gonna
Tuesday night.
teach you all about Angular with Firebase. So,
Cool.
and I'd love to meet the community over there as well. Not only here in DevFest, like.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's great. The last question for me, and we can wrap it up. Where do you see this community in a year, and like where do you want to grow it? ngGirls, Angular Nights, whatever. What's like the next big thing?
Well, so Angular Nights is going to probably stay just a local meetup, but we have lots of people who are interested in Israel, and so I guess it is very useful there in the community in Israel. But ngGirls, we're starting to have more and more events. So, for example, tomorrow, with the help of DevFest, we're organizing ngGirls here in Lviv.
Another event announcement.
Another event,
Please join it.
So
Sunday.
wherever I go, tomorrow on Sunday, the whole day, we've got participants and mentors who are all local here. And everywhere I go, in every conference, I try to find an opportunity to organize ngGirls.
Cool.
But the vision is
Okay.
that it's not, I don't have to do this by myself. Already in the second ngGirls event that we had in Copenhagen as part of NG Vikings, one of the mentors, Martin, really liked the idea, and he teamed up with me, and I give him all the resources he needs, and he organizes ngGirls events around the world, especially in Europe, in Germany. So the way he's doing it, anyone can do this.
Yeah.
I can help you out. And for example, I've been talking to the people from the Angular community in Colombia, in Medellin,
Okay.
and
Wow.
they're organizing ngGirls over there in November 18th.
Wow, it's like the other side of the world.
Yes, yeah,
Cool.
and that's the idea, that
It will
I don't have
spread
to
out.
be there. Yeah, it
Cool.
will spread out. Like it's best if people who do this can talk to me before that, or can join some ngGirls event to see how it's going, how it's organized. But really, the idea is to have lots of events all over the world, and the resources are out there. And I will help you. I will help you with the emails that you need to send, with the website, everything. So that's the first stage, and it's already happening. We already have so many events around the world,
Cool.
and but still, in most of them, it's either me or Robert who are there. But we start seeing events that other people organize. And for the next stages, we also think about programs that are for more experienced women developers. So, and to motivate them to continue developing, to continue their career in high tech, and also to become speakers for those who want, because we also don't see enough women speakers in
Yeah.
tech events. So we really feel that they will be a great role model for others. So we're trying to think about ideas of how to do that. So if you have any ideas for programs like that, for events like that, or if you'd like to help or organize ngGirls wherever you are, we'd love to hear about that. Just, email me or tweet me. Just do that.
Yep. Shmuela,
Yeah.
thanks for the conversation. Guys and girls, remember, Sunday, ngGirls Lviv, and Tuesday, Angular Nights Lviv.
Angular, it's Angular Lviv
Angular Lviv
meetup,
meetup,
and
yep.
I'm gonna be there as a speaker.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tune in, and thanks for being here, Shmuela.
Thank you.